If you ain't a Gator, you must be Gator bait. If you ain't a Gator, you must be Gator bait.
Welcome back and welcome in. This is If You Ain't a Gator. Sorry for the mix up with Corey not being here. That's some other stuff, but we're still going to kick it tonight. We're going to talk some Gators football, chat it up. We got some updated news with some recruiting, some possible QB2 news, got some more injury news, unfortunately. But yeah. What's up, Shane, bro? Always here. I'm so glad to see you all the time. But listen, I'm going to go ahead and make this known real quick. Hey, bro, I'm ready for all the lies. I'm going to let it be known real quick that if the power goes out, it's lightning like crazy outside. So if it cuts off, my bad. It wasn't me just leaving out of nowhere. I don't know what's going on out there, but it's lightning, thunder, and popping everywhere. But we're going to get to some of the recruiting news. Let me go ahead and pull up 247 Sports so we can look at an updated ranking. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it's getting crazy out there. Sorry, like I said, y'all may not have heard it because y'all weren't here. I didn't troll y'all. Corey was supposed to be here, but some other things happened and he can't make it tonight, but we are going to reschedule. Let me see. All right. Team rankings. So Florida is sitting at number 13 with the addition of Davion Gross. This is a huge pickup. Honestly, I would have went live for this if I had known that we were even a possibility. I didn't even think that we stood a chance. Everything I heard prior to him committing, yeah, bro, it's crazy out there. Everything that I heard before him committing was it was either Houston or a long shot being Oklahoma. That's what I heard the whole time, was that those were the two. And then like last second, I heard that there was a possibility that Billy was just shooting from half court, trying to get in there and get in the mix. And next thing I know, I see this man committed to us. So this is a huge pickup. I mean, this man is disgusting. I'm going to read y'all what they have to say on 247 Sports about him. But like I said, this is a pickup that I didn't even think was going to happen, but I'm super excited about it. But Gabe Brooks says, dynamic offensive weapon, experienced at running back and receiver who could play either at the high major level. Owns a receiver's build with strong pass-catching production, but verified athleticism particularly stands out when stacked versus running back class. That said, multiple sources indicate a desire to play receiver. Displays impressive body control and spatial awareness in the air and along boundaries. So I'm not going to read all this, but I will put in there actually Texas 5A 200-meter champion. That boy is sliding on them. Sliding. This is what I love to see. I mean, from this recruiting class, people we brought in, Billy's bringing speed back to the swamp. I love everything about it. I think that we're starting to see that we're getting our big receivers, your Dallas Wilsons, your J. Michael Sturdivants, your Nashawn Montgomerys. But then he's going in, he's pulling in guys like this that, again, looks like he's just barely moving and he is flying past these guys. The big thing is, again, please hear me when I say this. I'm not comparing this guy to Percy Harvin, but it's that Percy Harvin role. If you remember that time period where Percy was a receiver, but then he would run into the running back position, hand it off to him, or runs into the running back position, fakes the handoff, and he's rolling out on a wheel route. He's, running up the seam, and the passes are getting off. I think that Billy is bringing in more of what he wants with a lot more movement. I just like that he's bringing in what he knows. Okay, this is what's going to build my offense. Not every single top player that he's just going and grabbing, and it's just not a good fit. It's not a good culture fit. But with Davion Gross, I mean, it's disgusting. Him matched with Justin Williams, that tandem right there, you can do whatever you want with that offense with those two back there. Honestly, like, it's going to be crazy to watch him scheme up the two of them in there. Exactly, yeah. Like I said, they're a Percy-esque receiver. We heard it with the Kadarius Toney. I don't think that anyone is ever going to be Percy Harvin. That's not a person that you can replicate. That's not a person that you can be him, but it's disgusting. Do you think Florida will land Elijah Haven? Yeah. Actually, I really do think that Florida lands him. I didn't know it first, and I think that the trending towards him is huge. I think you're starting to see what Billy can do with these quarterbacks. That kind of rolls into the talk that I had on here about who QB2 is going to be. I personally just watching the fall camp videos, watching the practice, watching all these different things, it's looking like Tramel Jones is starting to set himself apart. I mean, we saw it last year. I get it. DJ is a generational talent. That's why he got that QB2 position. But Tramel Jones seems to be setting himself apart, and he can run, he can move, but he's stupid accurate with the football. I was just talking about this, how I watched him play at OT7, and I was like, this man is deadly accurate. That's back when he was committed to Florida State, and I did not want to pull for him, but he is so gross out there. And I think that he's a perfect QB2. I think that he can come in and he can win more ball games than an Aiden Warner or even a Harrison Bailey. I truthfully didn't think that he was going to have a chance to be the QB2, but looking at it, it definitely looks like that's going to end up being the way they go. If not QB3 at the furthest down the depth chart, but I think that throughout the season, you're going to see him get into that QB2 scenario. But I would love to bring in Elijah Haven. Honestly, I'd absolutely love to see us bring him in because that's a special talent. That's someone that if something does happen to DJ, he just fills right back in there. He's going to jump right into the mix, and I can't wait to see it. Do you think we get the 5-star? Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. Let me pull up everything about him. But while I'm pulling him up, we're going to also dive into a little bit of like the injury talk. I think that my boy David, listen, if y'all haven't yet, go to my YouTube, go watch mine and David's live. It's up there as a video now. Listen, some huge insight. David's super smart. So go check that out. But I think, honestly, I think that there's going to be a lot that goes into recruiting with this season, because as much as like David and I talked about this on there, I don't think that Billy is the number one coach on the hot seat. I just don't. I don't agree with that. But I do think he is. It's warm. That seat's definitely warm. But the way he ended this season, he saved himself a little bit. But a lot of recruiting is going to fall into how everything goes on with this season. 9-win, 10-win season, you're going to see recruiting shoot through the roof. 5-star safeties are coming. 5-star quarterbacks are coming. I have heard rumblings that Elijah Haven is possibly going to reclassify, or was at one point. I can't confirm nor deny that. I don't know if that's still going to happen, but I'm all for it if he wants to. Bring him on in. But a lot of it is just going to it all banks on this season. Like, truly, it all banks on this season. Because if we end up with the hype that we have, this Lagway hype, the just team and depth hype that we have, if we can't do something with this, I just don't see commits looking at this team and going, okay, like, how long is it going to take for you to actually put on display what you're telling me is going to happen? So that's just my take on it. Yeah, we do got Will Griffin. I agree. But again, even if you do bring in an Elijah Haven, say you do bring him in, if he comes in, you can bring in a Will Griffin. That's fine. You can have a 2 quarterback cycle. Again, Will Griffin's not going to be an Elijah Haven, but I do think if Elijah Haven does commit and say he does reclassify, I just don't think we keep Will in this class unless he's just a competitor and wants to go out there and fight for that spot. But that's going to be absolutely huge. Bro, I appreciate you stopping in. Seriously. All the retweets, all that. Go Gators. But yeah, I definitely think if Elijah Haven ends up committing and if he reclassifies, unfortunately, Will Griffin probably is gone. And us as Gators fans can't be, I promise you're not going to be mad at it. You're not going to be mad at it at all. It's going to end up being for the best. JB, if having commits, do you think we'll stay in this class? What do I think commits will stay? Like all the commits will stay in this class, Kenny? Because I think that honestly, there's some rumblings. It's the college football scene anymore. I've talked about it before on some of the shows that I just don't think anybody that's in our class, I don't bank on them being there at the end of the season and then being there at National Signing Day. Come the real National Signing Day, it's December anymore, anyways. But I don't bank on them being there come that time. I want them to be there, but I don't know if they're going to be there just because of the landscape of what college football is now. It's just the way it goes. If someone throws out even more money, they're going to go over there. If they get this, oh, you're going to start for us right away, and we're going to give you $1 million more than these people are, they're not going to be there. It's just being honest. And it sucks. You know, I watched a video today of NIU's coach and him talking about the landscape of how college football is, how back when he played, it was like pride and it was passion for the college. And you got guys that go to the league and they're playing with a former Gator, whatever, former teammate, or even if they're 7-8 years into the league and then you get this rookie that comes in and he played for the same college, it's like this brotherly bond that they have, and it's just not a brotherly bond anymore. Yeah, what it is, it's, well, how much NIL money did you get? Oh, well, that's why you went and played there. Bryce Underwood, he was committed to LSU for a reason, and then Dave Portnoy in Michigan come in and drop a bag on him, and then off he goes with the win and goes and plays in Michigan. I get it. He's from up there. That's fine. But we know why he's there. He wanted to play for LSU. He's committed for a reason, and Michigan came in and just dropped an absolute bag on him. So, you know, I don't know who's all going to be there. I have my obvious guys who I hope stay in the class, but like a Carson Baker, I hope that he stays in the class. You know, the Hezzy Kent, I think he's going to be one. I think that's going to be wishy-washy. I hope Marquez Daniel stays in the class, KJ Ford. You just never know. Jeremiah Smith have more money. Yeah, I know, bro. Jeremiah Smith deserves that money, though. I can't lie to you. I would be fine with one of our boosters dropping the bag to get him to leave Ohio State to come here. Yeah, I hope Will Griffin stays. It kind of looks like he's that kind of guy who's like a Gator through and through. It just feels like he has like a passion for the team. You know, it's kind of like a Sharif Denson. I think a lot of people sleep on how much Sharif Denson loves being a Gator. It doesn't go as much recognized right now, but when he got there in like his first year, I mean, he was a Gator like we are. I mean, he was passionate about him, recruiting, just like a Trayon Webb. I think Lagway. I'll be honest with you. I think if something happened to Billy Napier and Billy Napier is not the head coach of the Gators next year, I'm not too concerned. I think DJ might be our quarterback next year. Yeah, Gervon Dexter was another one. I think you had guys that wanted to be Gators. I think Will Griffin's that. And I think that he would at least come onto campus and at least try to win that spot. And then if, like, say, year one, maybe even year two, it doesn't work out, then he gets out of there and goes and plays somewhere else. But exactly, yeah, we need him to stay dating the girl from the softball team. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing is that I don't think he leaves. Yeah, exactly. Like I think it depends on who they bring in. I mean, he definitely has a special bond with Napier, but I think you kind of see. I can't think of a head coach that got fired from the University of Florida, and as soon as they got fired, they went and immediately got another job. They may have went off season and then got a job, such as, I mean, Dan Mullen went a couple of seasons and finally got the job at UNLV. You got the Muschamp, who he got fired and he didn't even go take a head coaching role. He ended up going and, he was like a defensive analyst for Georgia. don't get me wrong, they get the bag off Florida and then they end up just going with the wind. But I think that's a big thing to look at, is that if Napier leaves, as long as he doesn't get like a top coaching job somewhere, I don't know where DJ is going to go. I mean, maybe he doesn't want to stay where his girlfriend is, and maybe he doesn't want to stay there. But all that talk, I think Billy's going to win 10, 11, 12 games this season. We're going to be in the playoffs. So all that's mute anyways. Oh, Muschamp did coach South Carolina. You're right. But it wasn't right away, though, I don't think. I don't believe that it was right away. I think he like won a season or something along those lines. But I definitely believe that this is going to be a massive year. And it kind of rolls into the talk of like the injury talk. And I get it. We all see it. I tweeted out today, or whatever you want to call it, posted on X, that we are so focused on our team. So you see the injuries and you're like, oh my God, like, why are we so hurt? Why are the injuries happening? Why is this happening? Why is this? Billy's allowing a little bit more to be seen this year. And I think that that's a way of like calming, like, okay, this is what you see. And this is why I've kept a close practice. This is why I've kept it closer to the chest, because you guys freak out every second anything happens. And I fall prone to it sometimes. I'm like, hey, why are these injuries happening? But go on X and go Ohio State Buckeyes football. To put in anybody football, injuries are happening. Oregon's losing people. Oregon lost Evan Stewart. Oregon lost another 5-star to a broken leg. Oregon lost another 5-star to him getting kicked off the team. So it's not just us. The problem is that we look at these guys, I'm not going to name any names, they work for these big platforms. Your On3s, your 247s, they work for these massive companies, and they go and post a link and they give you a little snippet of, key defensive lineman gets major injury, Caleb Banks gets massive injury, whatever the case may be. And what happens? You click it, they show you this much of the article. They make you go and put your debit card, credit card in, whatever the case may be. You get on there, and what ends up happening, you read absolute nothing. I mean, it's just them kind of working around what they're saying. So we got to relax. Like, truly, everyone's going to be okay. Again, if Lagway doesn't play against LIU, yeah, I have said I think that I want him to play a drive or maybe 2 drives, get kind of that preseason feel, play more, play a half, 3/4, whatever against USF, and then get in that in-game feel to go into Baton Rouge and play LSU. But even if he doesn't, it's not meltdown time. Like, it's not time to just absolutely just light a match to the season and just burn it down. You have to just let it simmer. It's going to be all right. This team, I think, I think that you got to look at it too, is that Billy he sees the post. He sees, okay, yeah, like, I had to save it last year. I'm kind of on the hot seat. Do you blame him that if his key players are getting hurt, do you blame him for being, extra cautious? It's the same thing if you have a job and you know that this is what's riding on it. Like, this is my 10 people I'm riding on to keep my job. If the smallest thing happens to them, you being in control of them, you're going to jump on that and try to help them. You're going to do what you can, that even the smallest thing, to, hey, let me make sure that they're going to be okay. And that's all there is to it. So I think it's just got to be a sit back, relax. It's an off season. So any type of news that throws the tiniest wrench in the plans that we have as fans, saying we're going to win the national championship this season or make the college football playoffs, any type of wrench is thrown in that, the first thing that happens is absolute chaos of just meltdown. So it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. We'll see who the dogs are coming. The Gators. I got to stop saying the dogs. Forget the dogs. But we're going to see who the real Gators are come this season. They're going to show themselves. This defense is still going to be nasty. Even if Caleb Banks is not out there for a week or two, we got people at that position. I mean, we have depth. Billy has built depth. Again, I don't know what Termel Jones is going to show. He's not going to be DJ. We know that. But he has the ability to go out there and win ball games. And from what I'm seeing from practice, he can whip it. I mean, he can for real put that ball in there. So just let it simmer. That's why everybody wants to talk about these receivers we got. and they make it seem like, we got Cam Newton back there and he has no players on offense with him, and that DJ is the only savior to this team. So it's going to be all right. Yeah, fired from Florida behind DC. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, he didn't jump on to that and go right to being a head coach. So even if Billy does, something happens to Billy this year and the wheels absolutely fall off, he's not going to, it's not like LSU's going to come calling and hire him, or Texas is going to hire him. Like, these top teams aren't going to come get him. So that's the way it is in football. And I've talked about this with David. I've talked about this on numerous shows. There's a difference. It's football. These are grown men that are massive individuals who are running at full speed, smashing into each other. Injuries are going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to get hurt as long as you're not injured. That's the biggest thing. If I'm not seeing these guys post from On3-247 saying that they are out for the season, ligament tears, broken bones, that's fine then. It's okay. They're hurt. They can play through that. DJ played on half a leg last year and still balled out. And if he plays a whole game of Georgia, guess what? He's 7-0 in games that he started. It's going to be all right. These guys will play through it. They've done it before. It's the SEC. You get beat up in here. That's why we play such a hard schedule. Yeah, exactly. I think DJ is going to play the first game. Even if there was no injury concerns about DJ, none whatsoever, if there was no talks about that, perfectly healthy, 100% DJ Lagway's healthy, he was not going to play the full game of LIU anyways. I mean, he may have played a full quarter just to kind of get an in-game feel of, like, even though they're absolute nobodies, to get that in-game feel of players that are not your teammates. They're not going to, if they get a chance to hit you, they're not going to take it easy on you. They're going to try to hit you. So give him like a quarter feel of it. But he's going to do what he did against Samford. He's going to toss the rock around for a little bit. He's going to throw 3-4 touchdowns, or Jaden Ball's going to score a couple and he's going to throw a couple, whatever the case may be. And he was going to be out of there anyways. So we act like he was going to go in there and we're playing a Utah or a Miami again week 1. That's not what we're playing. We're playing some dudes from New Jersey who they care more about basketball anyways, if we're being honest. So it's going to be exactly. He's not going to play that long. He's going to go out there. He's going to throw it. They're not going to risk it. The chance that if one of these guys do get to him and roll his ankle or something, they know that LSU is 2 weeks later. And we know that USF is going to be worse than an LSU or whatever the case may be. But you're going to see that they're not going to play him long. They're going to go out there. They're going to dog walk these boys, and then they're going to sit him on the bench, and he's going to sit there. He's going to stare at the iPad, and he's going to have his helmet off. And he's going to walk around joking with everybody while Tramel Jones and Aiden Warner come in and throw 6 more touchdowns on their head. No, I get that. I think that too. I think that he's the type of player that wants to play. I think that he has a love for it. But his dad played for Baylor. His dad played in the league. So I think that he has role models. One of his mentors is Robert Griffin III. You mean to tell me that RG3 isn't calling him up and saying, like, hey, I see that you got somewhat of a leg injury here, whatever. Like, it's not that serious. I get your competitiveness. I get that you want to go out there and you want to throw for 15, 16 touchdowns. It's not like this is his junior year and he has to show something he's expecting in the NFL draft. He's a sophomore. He can't go. The only thing he could do is leave Florida and go to another college. He can't leave Florida and go to the league after this year. So he's got people around him. And if you've watched his interviews, you've watched him talk, he's got a very good head on his shoulders and he knows what's going on. And I think that he knows there's more to football than just the LIU game and satisfying a bunch of us rowdy fans that in all reality, we're just wanting to see him play because we just want to. I think the real reason we want to see him play is because we want to know he's healthy. That's the only reason. If they were to tell us like, hey, we're going to rest him today because we really want him full go for LSU, and there was no injury concerns, no one would really care that much. Or, hey, he's going to come in for one drive and we're going to sit him the rest of the game because of that. we wouldn't really bat an eye at it. But all these reports about him being injured comes out, and then what happens? Everybody goes into panic mode. Burn it down. Oh, strength and conditioning coach, this and that. The strength and conditioning coach ain't out there putting the pads on them and telling them how hard to hit. They've talked about it. They're going through rough practices. And I agree. Yeah, I want to see him play as much as possible. But it doesn't matter. I don't care if he's 100% healthy. He was not playing that much against LIU. He might have went out there and thrown, in a perfect world, we get to go out there against LIU in the first drive. He throws a 50-yard bomb, like touchdown pass to Dallas Wilson. The crowd goes nuts. They sit down and they get ready for, next week and then the week after that. But yeah, definitely need, you got to get that rhythm down. You got to get that timing down. But again, I think him getting reps against our number twos or even against our number ones, like our number one defense at practice, is actually getting him more prepared for LSU than against LIU. The only difference is that the LIU team is actually trying to get to him and they're trying to prove a point because they're trying to transfer next year to get to a higher up school. So, yeah, I've been hearing rumblings about Nuss. I don't know what that is. They're keeping it close to the chest. And normally Brian Kelly has like a variety of open practices and he's kept all of them closed. Every single one of them. No one's even seen Nuss around. No one really knows what's going on. I don't think it's not a season-ending injury because there's no point in hiding that and keeping that close to the chest. But I do wonder, I'll be honest with you, I want him to play week 3. We already beat him last year. Go ahead and bring him out there. It's fine. Let Tyreek Sapp get a hold of him again. Let me see. Yeah, looking on like X and looking on the internet, I don't know what the deal is. I first heard it was a torn ACL. I don't fully know who LSU's quarterbacks are. Let's take a look real quick because Nuss has been all they've been talking about. They wanted him back. They wanted him in there. Who knows? These guys brought in about 56 people from the transfer portal. I don't even like being on this LSU roster. Van Buren. Yeah. Like I said, I want to play the best of the best. I don't want to not play a Nuss. I don't want to not play an Arch Manning because if it does come down to it and we do somehow end up with a 9-3 season, I want to have that stuff on tape that, hey, they played Garrett Nussmeier. They played Arch Manning. They played these top guys so that when that group sits down, because like I said, it's not a computer system anymore. This is a group of individuals that all have their own opinions. They all got into football somehow, so that's how they all became a committee. And they can say as much as they want, like, oh, we're unbiased in here. Okay, whatever. You put me on that committee, Florida could be 0-12, and I'm like, I think they still got a chance in the playoffs. I'm still going to be biased. And if they try, Florida State could be 12-0, and I could be like, nah, they didn't play anybody. They suck. But yeah, I get that. But again, I think that it comes down to it, right? You play a banged up LSU, right? You don't play Garrett Nussmeier. You play a banged up Texas, and you don't play against an Arch Manning, right? And say we do end up 9-3. We go 10-2 against the schedule. I don't care who is out in some of those games. We go 10-2. We're in the playoffs. But 9-3 is that benchmark where everyone's talked about it. You see the Josh Pates, the JD Pickles talking about if Florida's 9-3, do they get in with this schedule? It scares me if we go 9-3 and say, who knows? Say that we don't play a good Nussmeier, like Nussmeier's out and Arch Manning's out, and we beat an LSU and we beat a Texas. But say we go and drop one to A&M, we drop one to Georgia, and we drop one to Ole Miss. That's where my concern lies, is that do they take that into consideration? Well, they didn't play Nuss. They didn't play Arch Manning, two guys who is kind of looked at as a Heisman winner. I want to play these teams at full go. Because that's also for me, too, that goes into it that the fans can kind of simmer down too, because if Billy goes and beats some of these teams, I don't want to go. It's what we've done to Georgia, and it's rightfully so. We have a right to stand on that we didn't have DJ. We have DJ last year. We beat Georgia. I'll stand on that. I'll argue with anybody over that. We beat Georgia if DJ stays in that game. But you got to get definite wins. You have to. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah, they're not keeping us out at 11-1. I said this about the basketball team. They kept they didn't want to put us number one. We beat Auburn, and we beat Auburn without Elijah Martin, and what did they do? Kept them number one. And I texted anybody that's close to me that is also a Gators fan, and I said, at the end of it, it does not matter if we're number one, because the one thing you can't do is you can't deny a national champion. You can't do it. You got to put them in there. You can't deny it. If we go 11-1, they're not going to keep us out of it, because I'm going to guess that one is going to end up being 2, an LSU, a Texas, or a Georgia. 11-1, we get in, and guess what? Go ahead, put us at whatever spot, but you can't deny a national champion. So there's just a lot to it. I think that, again, there's a lot of panic, but the problem is it's all of us being real antsy for the season. We're all ready. Myself, exactly. We talked about that on the last live. David and myself, we talked about if we go 9-3 and LSU goes 9-3, or we go 9-3 and say Texas goes 9-3, or again, Georgia goes 9-3. How do you level that out? Do we get in if we're 9-3? Does Georgia, LSU, whoever, does the other get in at 9-3? How do you weigh those options? And I think that's the biggest thing. Who is our losses to? Who did we play in those losses? Because again, if say we beat LSU, right, with Nuss in there, and then a few weeks later, say I don't know if Texas plays LSU, but say Texas plays LSU and they play without Nuss, and they beat LSU, right? Or say we lose to an LSU with Nuss, but they beat a LSU without Nuss. How do they weigh that? Again, it's hard because you got a full committee in there. So it's a lot to weigh. It's like this with anything, any type of sport, whether it be football, fighting, any of that stuff. Do not leave it in the hands of others. Go get the job done, and they can't deny you. You go 12-0, obviously they're not denying you. 11-1, 10-2, you're not being denied at all. Now, the real question is, do we as Gators fans, after what we saw last year from the playoffs, do we even want to be in the SEC championship? I know that we like that idea of being in the SEC championship game and being SEC champions, but what do we want to be in that? Do we want that extra game? Caleb Banks got hurt, supposedly. They're saying he's day-to-day and he's in a boot. But from everything that I've been hearing now about him is that it's just a precaution. I think that it's Billy knowing and these other coaches knowing. And who knows? Maybe it's something that they're like, it's something that they're trying that Florida's just ahead of the game on. Hey, a somewhat leg injury happened. They weren't going to practice anyways. If they hurt their leg and they weren't going to practice anyways for 2 or 3 days, because it's like, well, hey, they got dinged up in practice, so we're going to let them sit for a couple of days. Let's just throw a boot on there for just extra. Let's just be a little extra and cautious with these top guys. I mean, you got to look at it a different way. I think a lot of people are looking at it glass half empty. You got to look glass half full. We're just all real antsy for the game, or for the season to start, and to see that first game, that any type of letdown that happens, everyone freaks out. So exactly, I don't know how I feel about it, because of course I want to win the SEC. That used to be where you wanted to be. If you won the SEC and you had a great record, you knew that you were in that mix for the national championship. Now it's not so much. Now again, we could go 10-2, have 2 SEC losses. You could have a Texas and a Georgia play for the SEC championship game, and then we get in and they're more banged up because they played an extra game than we did. It's kind of a silly, honestly, it's a real silly. I get that you get the bye, but no one that got a bye last year won the national championship. Ohio State hosted a game against Tennessee, and they go on to win it. And the teams who got the first round bye end up getting beat. So, I mean, really, what did that do for you? But I just think we got depth. I think really the two spots that we don't have that we know because we've seen it. I think that we know that quarterback is a question mark with depth. And it's hard because the drop off from Lagway to any quarterback, unless you have Arch Manning or Garrett Nussmeier or these, Sam Leavitt, if you have any of those guys behind DJ Lagway, okay, maybe it's not a massive drop off. But in our eyes, if we think that he is the Heisman winner, anyone from him to the next person is going to be a drop off. So, of course, Tramel Jones, Aiden Warner, Harrison Bailey, they're not going to come in and be Lagway. But also, if we as Gator fans are hyping up this receiving corps and these running backs and this O-line, like we think they're those guys. So if we think that about them, then you need to trust that Stetson Bennett went and won a national. Where's Stetson Bennett right now? What's he doing? He went and won a game. Let's be real here. I'm no disrespect to an Eli Manning. Eli Manning won multiple Super Bowls, but he won it because of his surrounding crew. So, you got to look at it a different way. Lagway in there, we can go undefeated with the Lagway in there with this team. Without Lagway, yeah, we might have to rely 100% on our defense, and we might win some ugly, ugly games, and we might have to play it differently. But again, that's where coaching comes into it. But I think that we can win ball games with this team, even if Lagway's not in there, even if a Caleb Banks isn't in there. There's depth there. Nate has built this team to be able to turn over talent. So, yeah, I don't know what the whole thing with Purdy was. He came in here. I was excited about having him as a backup. I'll be 100% honest with you. I think that he was kind of like the knockoff brand of Lagway. And I think that a lot of us would have been like, okay, yeah, if we need him to play a game or two, I think he can get the job done. But I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if he really did actually come into this with the mindset that he was going to have a chance for the starting job. If so, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm glad that he's up out of there because that's a crazy mindset. And again, if someone did tell him that, that's recruiting. I mean, these coaches lie to get players on campus all the time anyways. I mean, they told Hezzy Kent he's going to play tight end. We know that ain't happening. So it is what it is. It's kind of like what comes with the territory. But yeah, he went to Wake Forest, and he's going to start, and he's going to ball at Wake Forest. I mean, their schedule is cupcake. It's one of the easiest schedules, but he couldn't transfer within the SEC. Everybody got nervous that he was going to transfer and go to Georgia, but he couldn't transfer within the SEC because he was technically transferring in that next window where you can't transfer within conference. So that's why he had to go to another one. But yeah, I'll be honest with you though. I don't believe that was like a Billy Napier lie if it was, but I'll be 100% honest with you. Every single player that is on our team, especially that they've been recruited here, whether it be through the transfer portal or through the high school rankings, they've all been lied to. I'll promise you that right now. They probably even told DJ, like, yeah, you're going to have a chance to start right away. But it is what it is. It happens. I mean, they're salesmen at the end of the day. That's what they're doing. They're obviously handing over money now, but they're trying to get you to come there, and they're telling you. They may word it differently. It may be put this way or that way, but they're definitely telling you, yeah, you're going to come play. You're going to have a chance to play. All of them do it. Every single coach does it. They're not going to look at a kid in their living room and go, yeah, hey, you're going to have to sit by this guy for 3 years, but they're definitely kind of working the wordplay. Yeah, FSU is, I don't know what's going on over there. You got players fighting coaches. You got players getting kicked off the team left and right. I don't know what's going on. You got a quarterback that can't ride a roller coaster. I don't know what's going on. It's crazy to me. But I definitely, just looking at the season, I feel like, again, for everybody's sake, and again, I keep saying it, if you're on X, that's not reading on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. That's not for the weary, not for the weak, not for anyone with anxiety. If you go on there and you read these fans that are posting, the amount of panic that's on there is going to absolutely throw you, throw you off there. Enjoy. Yeah, I mean, I obviously know that it's FSU's as much as I love to throw the trolls and the jokes. We obviously know that FSU isn't gonna stay down forever, but it just looks like Mike Norvell has lost control of the team. But yeah, I think so. I definitely think just looking at the fall practice, and if you go watch, I mean, go watch Zach Abelverde, go watch those guys who actually have the ends at practice, the media passes to get in there. For me personally, watching it, the ball coming out of Aiden Warner's hand and the ball coming out of Tramel Jones' hand, I mean, there's just more pop coming out of Tramel Jones' hand. He's just fitting it into windows better. He's fitting into pockets better. His deep ball looks better. Just the route tree that he's going through, he's putting the ball there better. I think that it's not from a talent perspective. I don't think it's about throwing the ball, who throws the ball better. I think that it's who can learn this playbook better. I know we like to joke and say, well, Billy's only got 9-10 plays. He definitely has a more in-depth playbook. He just can't open it up because I don't think he's at a quarterback that can learn it yet. I think that DJ knows it, and I think that DJ can go top to bottom the playbook. But again, we're having to see who QB2 is right now because we don't know about Lagway. But that's what it's going to come down to. But again, I think that Tramel Jones is an extremely, extremely smart kid. I think that he's super mature. Just watching his interviews, watching the videos, just the way he carries himself and condones himself. Just listen to interviews down at OT7, the 7-on-7 games. He condones himself and carries himself as if he's 24, 25 years old, not that he's a freshman on campus. But yeah, I definitely think he pushes for the QB2. Honestly, I hope he gets it because I think best players need to play. Lagway is obviously the best player at quarterback. If some reason that Lagway can't go, put the next best guy in there. I get that there's a playbook that you have to learn. There's schemes that you have to learn, but there's some guys that you just put in. I'll be honest with you, I don't think back when Johnny Manziel played, I don't think he fully understood the playbook. I think that's why he didn't succeed in the NFL, because that run around, draw play in the dirt, make it happen isn't going to work in the NFL. But when he was there, I think that they just put the best player out there and said, go ahead. It's college ball, go see what you can do. The young safeties are studs. Yeah, they are studs. They've shown they'll start freshmen out there on that defense. I think that they're going to get a lot of playing time. I think they're going to get more playing time than we think. I don't think that they're going to start over, Jordan Castell or Bryce Thornton, but I definitely think they're going to get a lot of play time. And I think if they're in the mix there, I think you could see them slide down to the nickel. I think you could see them, in a dime scheme. I think you see an extra safety out there playing down more, closer to the linebacker position. I think that that's how Ron Roberts runs a defense, is they can piece people in different places. They had safeties playing corner last year and you wouldn't have known it. They can play all positions, and that's a scheme. That's not anything that a defensive back coach that decided that he wanted to take a trip down to Miami. It's nothing that he brought. That's just scheming up a good defense. What is time of day is your show normally? Yeah, so I do a live show on Thursdays, and I'll be doing pre-recorded shows on Sundays that will release on Sundays. And going to go over like the games and things like that. So Amir Jackson is going to be nasty. I will say this. I want to see the tight ends get more involved this year. I want to see, especially the red zone. I think that we could have scored a lot more. And I think Mertz could have thrown a lot more touchdowns, even the year prior, not even just last season, the year prior. I think a lot more touchdowns could have been thrown if we put the tight ends more. See, I think that's why like they're telling Hezzy Kent, right? You can come play tight end here. Obviously, they're going to tell him, yeah, you can come play tight end here because we're not using the tight end. This isn't a Dan Mullen offense or a Chip Kelly offense or, one of these offenses where they're using the tight end a lot and utilizing them. The tight end there is like an extra lineman, to be honest, because this is a run first, run second, pass third offense. Like, let's just be real here. That's what we've known. Maybe it's run first, pass second now because of the core we have there. But I want to see the tight ends get some more reps out there and get in that red zone. I ain't saying that we got to throw it down the middle to them, when we're, at the 35 going 65 yards down the field. But I do want to see when we're in that, 30 yards to go range or getting set that red zone range, let's get them the ball. I mean, why not? We got some studs, some athletes out there. Yeah. See, Gates is another one. I mean, you put Gates anywhere. I think you put him on the D line, he's going to excel. Let's be real. That is the best player on our defense right there. Remember, I said it. I get it. I know Tyreek Sapp, Caleb Banks, George Gumps. I understand that, but Aaron Gates is that guy. I actually think with him being healthy, and then you're going to see Cormani excel this year. You're going to see him take that next step. This defense is going to shock a lot of people this year. Everybody, I get it. We're looking at the offense because we got this shiny toy in DJ Lagway. We got another shiny toy in Dallas Wilson. That's the crazy thing is how many studs that we have on this offense that it's almost like we don't even really even consider the defense right now. But this defense is disgusting. Yeah, I'm really hoping that Russ Callaway has more of an input. To be honest with you, I've talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. I'll talk about it 100 more times before the season starts in a couple weeks. I want Russ Callaway to have full reins of the pass offense, and then you put you put Billy Napier in control of the running backs like Jaden Ball, Jackson. Run it like that. I'm cool with that. I'm not saying that they got to both kind of argue back and forth. No, and it's not like they're standing over there that you're like, oh, hey, Russ Callaway is calling a play, so we know they're passing. Oh, Billy, no. Put Russ up in the booth, let him talk down to Billy, and let them go back and forth. They can know how to work together. They're both intelligent individuals. Make it happen that way because I want to see that pass game take a next level. I'm kind of tired of seeing receivers running routes and they can't get separation. The only difference is I think that DJ is that quarterback that can create separation by putting a ball in a spot that you're like, how did he get that there? But I don't want that for him. I want a great called offense, that a passing offense that when he throws that ball, he doesn't have to make some crazy, just amazing throw. Yeah, Billy is stubborn, and that could end up being his demise, honestly. It could be the same. Let's be honest here, though, right? Let's just look at this. It wasn't the prettiest offense. It's not an 08 offense. It's not a Steve Spurrier run offense. It's not a 2019 LSU offense that is scoring crazy amount of points. But if it is the same offense run by Lagway, and Lagway's there start to finish, right? And at the end of it, we win the ball game. Are you going to care if it's the same offense? If we win every game, again, I think if Lagway start to finish is the Georgia game, I think that everything is good. I think we're good. But if it comes down to that and it's the same offense and we get the same outcomes that we got for the 6 games that Lagway started and finished, are you mad at it? Because I'm not. I get our offense is boring. It is. But again, you had a true freshman out there that I don't think that Billy expected to be in a starting role. You got to look at it that way. If he didn't trust him last year fully because he's a true freshman, He has an idea that he's a gunslinger. He knows it. He sees him at practice. Okay, he tries to fit the ball into crazy windows. He's not going to put him into a situation where he's like, okay, we need to sling the ball 60 times a game. He's going to put him into okay, I know he's talented. I know that he can win games, but I got to kind of pull him back a little bit. But now he's a sophomore. He's got the feel of these games. Now let's let him go throw it. Let's let him go sling it around a little bit more, and let's open up this playbook. Again, I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and talk down on Billy yet. If he goes and loses 5-6 games, yeah, you're gonna see me on here frustrated, mad, hooting and hollering about getting him out of there. But you have to, yeah. See, that's another thing too. I think that there's a lot that people don't understand. When we didn't have a great offense when a Vernon Hargraves and a Tease Tabor and a Quincy Wilson, these guys that were there, we didn't have this outstanding offense. We didn't have a Kyle Pitts, a Kyle Trask, Kadarius Toney type offense out there. But what was a big reason we were scoring in those games is because the defense was getting turnovers and they were getting the ball back to the offense in short territory, that even if it ended in a field goal, it meant that we were still putting points on the board at the end of that. Whereas we haven't had a defense that I think, again, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, whatever the case may be, Billy hasn't put the ball in the air because I think he didn't trust the defense. So now I think that defense has got to the point where he goes, okay, I trust these guys. Let's put the ball in the air. And I can trust now that if it's an incomplete pass, okay, ball's batted down, 3rd and 9, or it was 3rd and 9, ball gets batted down, 4th and 9. Instead of handing the ball off, you get 3-4 yards, whatever. Okay, 4th and 9 because the ball is incomplete, punt it down the field. I trust that my defense can stop their offense and I can get the ball back. Whether it be punt, turnover, whatever it may be, I can get that ball back. I don't think that he trusted that with Austin Armstrong last year. I think that you see it now, last year. Ron Roberts took over the play calling. And what happened? You saw a crazy difference. I'll be honest, I don't think that the offense changed that much last year near the end of the season as much as it was the defense changed. DBs were flying around. You saw defensive linemen flying around trying to get to the quarterback. It was just so different. It was so different. It was so much. It was night and day in that season. Just go watch it. Go watch a recap of the season. You can tell. You can see in that season when Ron Roberts took over, and you can see why Austin Armstrong went out. And I think that Billy did him justice. Billy didn't come out and talk bad about Austin Armstrong. He didn't even come out and say Ron Roberts was calling the defense. He let Austin Armstrong get that job over at Houston because I think the writing was on the wall like, hey, you're not going to be here next year. So, and all kudos to that because we saw Dan Mullen, that was his demise. He didn't want to fire his DC. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. The offensive line is another one. I think that it's an aggressive sport. You got to play aggressive. You have to do it. You can't be lazy out there. Not in this conference. You can't. If you're lazy in this conference, you're going to go down massively against a Texas A&M and, or even playing a Miami last year. We knew what they had in Cam Ward. And I don't care what you say. We love to, I love to troll. I love to talk and go back and forth and the rumblings here and there. I knew as a college football fan what Miami was getting in Cam Ward. And what happened? The team played lazy. And as soon as they went down, everyone gave up. Everyone gave up. I don't know what the conversation was. I don't know if it was Lagway coming in, but the whole team, just the team as a whole, everything changed. Something sparked and something clicked, and I think you saw it. And that's the biggest thing with Billy. I think that they saw him, that he didn't give up. He never quit. And I think that's a telltale thing because I've given Billy a hard time about being so quiet and calm. And I've said that I think that rubs off on the players. But there's other coaches on the team that are screaming and hollering and they're, pumping up the team. But I think a big thing that they saw is that their leader, their main guy, not even Lagway, the main guy being Billy Napier, he was calm, and he never gave up on the season. Not once. And that rubbed off on the team, and not a single one of those players gave up. You saw when Mullen gave up on the team, the whole team gave up. I mean, he lost the locker room. The whole locker room was gone. So it is what it is. Again, we're gonna see everything in a few weeks. If we go out there and play LSU in Baton Rouge and we just get absolutely smacked by them, that's not good. I agree. I'll be 100% honest, Brian. I agree with you 10,000%. I do want to see Billy have a little more fire in him. I do want to see when we score touchdowns, I want to see him pumping his fist. And even if we do a bad play, bro, throw the clipboard down. Do something. I mean, say a cuss word. Do something. It's football. Just say something at some point, and I think that it'll fire people up because they're like, oh, dang, like this Billy who's calm demeanored, he's getting pissed off now. That means we did something wrong. We need to step up here. Exactly. And to be honest with you, I think a big thing is he's got to be himself at the end of the day. He can't be fake because the players are going to sniff that out. He's got to be who he is. But I'm telling you, I like Napier too. I really think it's going to be a lot of problems for college football if Billy can get a massive a massive season this year, because here's the difference. We saw it with the Muschamp. We saw it with the McElwain. We saw it with the Mullen. They all had that boom season that we're like, okay, this is going to be. McElwain had it with Will Grier. You had a Muschamp doing it with his defense that was winning ball games, and we beat the snot out of Ole Miss, coming as a number one team. Dan Mullen had it with Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts. The difference is, right, and we all quickly forget about it. Do you guys remember? Because I do. TCU was in the national championship a few years ago. What happened to them? They got smacked by Georgia in it. And what's happened to TCU since? They're not even relevant. So it's fine. We can have that 1-year deal. That's great. You can get right there, real close. And then what? Nothing. There's got to be a longevity. You got to build something here. There is a well-oiled machine, and Nape has been around it. He's been around the Clemsons. He's been around the Alabamas. He's been around other coaches who've been around other programs that are winning programs. Let him do his thing. Let him build that well-oiled machine. You're going to see how far it can go. That's why I'm trusting him, because I'm like, there's got to be something there. Kirby Smart has done it. These guys who have played for these coaches who are winners and know what they're doing, let him do his thing. I would rather. It sucks. We've dealt with losing with other coaches, and we've fired these coaches quick too. If this means that the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years under Billy Napier, we're going to be in the hunt, and every single year we're going to be in that top range where we're fighting for a national championship every single season, then I'll take the punishment the last few years if it starts now, or even if it starts next year. I don't want it to, but if it does, cool. Make it. I'm fine with it. Build what you got to build. You said at the beginning, we're going to get frustrated. We're going to get annoyed. It's all going to iron itself out. Yeah, I agree. But just because we think that they're the best player, and just because we think that they have this and that, there's a reason that Billy and co are getting paid what they're getting paid. But yeah, I mean, we could see it. I just think that there's more to it. I've talked about it. The Trevor Etienne, we as Gator fans all wanted him starting over Montrell. But there comes when there's someone who is just a negative to a team. And I think that that's kind of what Etienne was. I think that you saw Trevor Etienne was a problem when it came to that locker room, where he leaves and you see who he becomes. You see who his family ends up being towards it. Or just like Jack Pyburn, the same way. Jack Pyburn's wanting to start, and everyone's like, well, why is he not starting? Well, he leaves, and what's he doing? He's throwing fits, and his dad's throwing fits on social media. You can't have that. Yes, I agree. I think like in Aaron Gates, these players who come in as true freshmen, Lagway is a prime example. Again, it's hard with him because of generational talent. He's who he is. but you play these guys. But do I think, I'll be 100% honest, do I think that if Lagway starts against Miami, do I think that that changes the path of our season? No, I don't. We may have lost the game closer to Miami, but I think that that whole team as a whole, that everybody there, right? Nobody was ready to be locked in. No one. It took an embarrassment. I think it took these players watching ESPN, listening to different podcasts, listening to the fans boo Billy, everything that came along with it, that I think it finally clicked. It finally clicked to them that, hey, we love this guy. We care about Billy, but we're about to lose him because of us. Billy can't go out there and play for these boys. He can only get them prepared. He can just do what he can do, and that's all there is to it. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of people that compare to Freddie T. Hey, NFL put him in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be tough players to watch. Brenton Cox was another one, a Georgia product that I think that it was a selfish player. I think that we brought him in with hopes that he could be something and maybe you could make him a certain way. Even Cormani, when Cormani came in, he was a selfish player. He has changed now. I thought it was so perfectly executed by Billy Napier to say, you can come play here, but you're going to be a walk-on. You're going to, that money you got from Colorado, all that money you got from there, you better put that towards a scholarship. That's how you're going to be here this year. You're going to prove it. If you don't cut it, if you're going to be going against everything we're saying, then let bygones be bygones. We didn't lose anything. It was low risk, high reward. I think the high reward's coming this year, but again, you got to be willing to change. I don't think the ETNs were willing to change. I don't think Brenton Cox was willing to change. Your Marco Wilsons, even though it wasn't under Billy Napier, you have players like that who aren't willing to change. That's the biggest thing we need to look at this locker room. This is a combined team. It wouldn't shock me if Tyreek Sapp is over there hanging out with, Jaden Ball, and you got Aiden Mizell hanging out with Lagonza Hayward. You got everybody hanging out with everybody. I think that I watched John Gruden on his YouTube where he's unfortunately talking to the Bulldogs, but he's telling these guys, hang out with somebody new. When you walk in here to the meeting room, don't sit next to the same person. Sit to different people. And I think that's what Billy is creating there, is that he's got everybody sitting every which way. You sit with this guy today. You do this with this guy today. Let's create this bond and let's create something here. You become a team dynamic, and there's a lot that comes from that. Yeah, I've said it. He's a bright spot on this team. I really think you're going to see something from Cormani this year, and then come next year, either him or Aaron Gates is going to be wearing that number 1 jersey. I'll guarantee it. If Cormani earned it and he wears 7, that was by choice because he just likes the number 7 jersey. But I think Aaron Gates or him is wearing that number 1 jersey, and they're going to be the next DB since Vern that's wearing that jersey. But yeah, I'm rooting for Cormani big time. He's from right down the road from where I'm from, and I really hope he turns it around. I love it too. Earn it. I'm so tired of these players. I thought that Ricky Pearsall was decent for having it. I think that offense isn't as much with number 1. It doesn't bother me when certain players wear it on offense, because growing up, it wasn't an offensive number that I'm like, obviously Percy Harvin had it, but it wasn't a detrimental type thing because of the number 1 jersey being on offense. It's when a number 1 is on defense that it really has that hit to it, especially if a DB is wearing it. Do not put a DB in that unless they got to be him, which I think Aaron Gates is. I think Aaron Gates is that guy. You got to give him that number 1 jersey. Even, I'll be honest with you, if he's willing to switch, I love the number 13 on him. But if he balls out, I could see him switching to that number 1 jersey after a couple of games, just like Vern did his freshman year. Yeah. Yeah. Reggie, I'm guessing RFN is Reggie Nelson, but Keywan Ratliff wore number 1. Vern was another one who wore 1 respectably. Like, guys like that who are game changers. I could have even seen like a Joe Hayden wearing number 1, but those are the kind of guys I want wearing number 1. I feel like I love that no one's wearing it this year because I feel like that's a tradition that we kind of got away from. It's anybody could wear it. Brenton Cox wore it. I'm like, what are we doing here? Why are these guys wearing number 1? You got to earn that. You have to. You have to be him, and that's all there is to it. Just like with the LSU, with number 7. Sorry, but if you're gonna rock that number, you got to be a Tyrann Mathieu. You got to be a Pat Pete. Same thing at Florida. Don't lose that. Keep that tradition and that's what I respect about Billy. I think that he's keeping that tradition, and so we'll see. I'm super excited for this season. Oh yeah. I heard Bet's massive pause, but I have heard that he is. See, that's another one just on that D line, making it happen, absolutely making it happen, and we got depth. We have depth there. Don't even stress it. It's going to be all right. Janoris Jenkins was, unfortunately, it didn't work out all the way, but he was him too and could have been him, but we know how that went. Yeah, I'm sure he would. He'd want a whole lot. He wants a big old payday for being a role player. He feels like he's Micah Parsons or something. I don't know. I like Jack Pyburn. I wish he had stayed on the team. I think it would have brought even more of a dynamic to his team. But again, if you can't fit in with the team, if you're a me player, you got to go. I just don't think that's what fits in on the squad. I don't think it's what Billy wants. I don't think that it's, as a whole, I don't think it's what a football team needs. You cannot be a me player. It doesn't end up working. If you're out there crying for the football, if you're a Stephon Diggs in the NFL where you're just absolutely just being pissy because you're not getting the ball, celebrate someone scoring. That's how I feel about this receiving core. I mean, you see all of them. They're sharing each other's pictures and, posting about each other. You see them coming together as one. Same with the running back room. You don't have an ETN in there who's crying because he's not getting touches. You see someone scoring a touchdown, and you see them all celebrating together because they're in the running back room together, putting in this work together. Same with the receivers, same with the DBs. It's like everybody is celebrating everybody. They just want, at the end of it, they want to win. I know, massive. We needed it. We need some interior help. So that's the biggest thing. You ask any coach. Like I said, I watched the John Grudens and the Bill Belichick's and listened to them talk. Nick Saban's talked about it. They asked Nick Saban on an interview one time, how did you win so many championships? And he said, I brought the team together. You can have extreme talent. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of times that this talent beats hard work when it comes to college football. I get that. But if you could have a bunch of 5-stars that don't play together, a la Georgia, and then it doesn't really go anywhere. Yeah, you can win some ball games and you can beat teams like Florida, who's not got a great quarterback in there, who didn't expect to play. But you get a bunch of 4-stars in there who come together and play together. I'm telling you, you're going to see it's going to be a crazy, crazy year. And then you got a 5-star generational talent at quarterback. I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun year. Stop stressing the injuries. Stop stressing the little things that these guys are posting. So you click on it and you give them money. It's going to be all right. It's going to be a fun football year. I'm telling y'all. Remember, I said it. I'll be here every single week. And if I'm wrong, be sure to come back and tell me. Who scores first? Okay, so I said I think that the first touchdown of the season, I think it goes to Eugene Wilson. I think that it's going to be a play action pass, and I want to say 35, 40-yard play, whether that be it's a 25-yard pass that, the Yak King goes in and runs it in for a touchdown, or he hits him over the top, but I think that it's Eugene Wilson. Play action, roll out Lagway, hits Eugene Wilson down the field, 35, 40-yard touchdown. If I call that and I don't bet on it and win some money on that, crazy for that. It could be a Jaden Ball goal line run. Honestly, that's probably what's going to end up happening. It's probably going to be a Jaden Ball just run it in, towed it in, and scored a touchdown. But most unexpected what? But yeah, each team has to play with every team has to deal with injuries. It's football. It's grown men hitting each other. It's what it's going to be. You just got to, that's why you have the depth. That's why you have what you have. That's why when Billy got there, he looked at the squad and he goes, okay, I have some good starters here. I have an Anthony Richardson. I got some players here. But what happens if Anthony Richardson goes down? I have nobody behind him. What happens if whoever goes down, what am I going to do? What am I going to do here? And people are frustrated about like a Montrell Johnson coming in, but Montrell Johnson knew the offense. Yeah, he is. I'll be honest with you. I think we got to utilize him. I like if you send Amir Jackson out and you put him in the slot, put him on a corner out and put a fader out to him, put the ball up top. I'm cool with that. Player I'm most interested in is got to be KD Daniels. I think he wins that RB3 spot, and I think it's going to be hard to deny him the ball. I think that Aiden Mizell is another one at receiver. I know J. Michael Sturdivant's another one too. I'll be honest, it's hard to pick this because I think there's a lot this year. It's real easy to say, like, we want to see Lagway. We want to see Dallas Wilson. Vernell Brown, go watch the practice highlights. I mean, he is lighting it up. But I want to see KD Daniels. I think we got that speed back at running back with him. Excuse me. And I think when he touches the ball, don't be shocked if there's a few different games that he breaks some big touchdowns. I don't think with him you see it. I think that if for some reason he ends up hiring an actual OC next year, I think you could see it. If you watch Russ Callaway at some of his former stops, he has some 4 receiver sets. I've never seen a 5 receiver set for him. But it's just not the way we play. We run a double tight end, run a stacked O-line, run a couple of receivers, and you're running back there. And that's what we run. It would be interesting to see. Could you imagine all running 4 or 5 receivers with this receiver room? And you got like a Tank Hawkins in the slot, and you have an Aiden Mizell out wide. What are you doing as a safety? How are you covering that? Those are track star speeds right there. You're not stopping that. I'm sorry, but you're not. And if you do, I would love to know who your defensive coordinator is because I don't know how you even dial up stopping that. And Dallas Wilson on the other side, Vernell Brown in the slot on this side. What are you going to do? I don't know how you stop that. But no, I don't think you see that. Yeah, Duke Clark is super fast too, but I do think that KD Daniels ends up being that guy. I think that he ends up being a shining spot, but I think our breakout player ends up coming from the defense, to be completely honest. I think it's because it's like an Aaron Gates that does what he did to Georgia and gets a bunch of interceptions and keeps it rolling. Cormani's another one. I watched Cormani play at Lakeland, and he's a receiver playing corner. He just knows how to play the ball really well. Devin Moore out there, if he can stay healthy. I think those are guys that are going to be the bright and shining spot because they're getting interceptions. We just need DBU to be back. I think offense is hard to really have a shining spot because I think Lagway is going to get the ball all around to everybody. We might. I'll be honest with you. I'd love to see 4 wide. I'd love to see it. Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown, Aiden Mizell, JaMychal Sturdivant. Put them all out there. Put all 4 of them out there. Actually, Eugene Wilson. It's hard. It's crazy how deep this receiver room is. Truly. It's insane. I put the 5 receiver set and throw Eugene Wilson into that mix. And I don't know how they have silently created such a crazy good receiver room. It really is insane. And the media does not hype our receiver room. And I get it. It's because some of them are true freshmen. But come next year and after how good of a year we're going to have this year, just watch. The hype is going to be absolutely unreal. 2-minute offense is a big one. I've talked about that a few times too. I saw us playing against Ole Miss going into halftime, minute 50 left, I think it was, minute 55, something like that. and we ran the clock out. And I'm like, why did we not try to get down there and get 3? Why did we not try to move this ball down the field and get any type of points? Even if you get Trace Mack in range to try to get it, at least try. I get it. There's a risky run of it getting blocked and it being returned. It is what it is. You just have to, you got to push the ball down the field. You got to do it. That's the biggest thing. I want to see that offense open up, and I'm tired of seeing this handcuff football. Open it up and put the ball in the air. Let's try to go score. And guess what? You're fighting for your job. I appreciate that. That was a lot of fun. She's extremely knowledgeable when it comes to football. No, I get it. We're not the only team, but the problem is that the other teams that do it, where are they? They're not national champions. They're, you know what I mean? They're putting the ball in the air. They're trying to get the ball down the field. And I get it. You get the ball with 30 seconds left and you get the ball within your 15. Yeah, don't be stupid. Run the ball, run the clock out. Don't risk an interception where they're going to get the ball back. But a minute 50 with timeouts on the board, you gotta put it in the air. Name the 2 teams you wouldn't mind losing to the least this year. It's hard. I gotta think about this. I know who they are, but please don't kill me on this first one. Let me explain myself. I think the 2 that I'm okay with losing to, and there's a reason for it, is LSU, and I'm going to go with A&M. The reason is because both of them are away games, but LSU, Death Valley at night, I'll be honest with you, if we're 10-2 and our losses are at LSU at night and then at Texas A&M where the 12th man is obviously what they are, they're going to look at that and be like, okay, those are 2 understandable losses. That's fine. Maybe even in LSU and Texas, if Texas goes out and manhandles Ohio State and they roll into Gainesville undefeated and we got a loss to LSU and then we end up losing at Texas, but then we win out. Again, you end the year strong. We just can't lose on the back end. You can't lose to an Ole Miss. Maybe if it's your second loss, you might be able to drop one, but you can't lose it at the end. Just can't do it. So before I get off here, number one, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And, I'm sorry. I know that Corey was supposed to be here, but like I said, some other things went down. And we're going to get that rescheduled and get him on here. But again, I am doing a giveaway. That giveaway is happening this Sunday. I'm going to go live. I'm going to do the giveaway. It's going to be a High Top Sports shirt, the Spot the Ball shirt. If you haven't seen it yet, go to my Instagram. It's on there. I posted about it. How you do it is you got to subscribe to my YouTube. You got to follow my social medias. If you follow all of them and you subscribe, that's an extra ticket. And then when you comment done under the Instagram post, if you tag a Gator that is not already following me, it'll get you an extra ticket. So you got a chance at 3 tickets, 3 slots to get in there. But it's going to be a Spot the Ball shirt by High Top Sports. And I'm also going to do a giveaway of a If You Ain't a Gator hat. It's going to be your choice. You can have the black brim or a blue brim or a camo hat. One of the 2, and it's going to have the If You Ain't a Gator on there. And I'll send that your way. So that's basically the rules. Like I said, it's going to be cut off Sunday at noon. It's done. Not accepted anymore. So go get it done. I want to get this going. We're either going to do a duck race or a spin wheel. Bro, I appreciate that. Seriously, thank you for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. And, it means the world to me that, this many people wanted to come in here and hang out with me. So come in now. I'll be at the Texas game too. Listen, follow me on Instagram. Truly. What I'm going to do too is we're going up for the LIU game and going up for the Texas game, I want to make a couple of If You Ain't a Gator shirts, like these ones right here. It's got the If You Ain't a Gator on the back. I want to make a couple of those shirts, and I'm going to bring them with me. And if you can show me that you're subscribed to me on YouTube, I don't know if they're going to be your size. If it's not, don't worry. I will get your size, and I'll get it mailed out to you. But if you come up to me at one of those games, you find me, and you're subscribed to me, and you follow me on the socials, I'll get you a shirt or a hat. You can tell me whatever you prefer. So I appreciate that, Easy. Truly. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me again. I apologize that Corey wasn't here, but we're making this happen one step at a time. If y'all don't mind, real quick too, before we end this, if you could, I know that the chat is there. If you could just X out the chat real quick and just hit that like button, it truly helps me out a ton. If you can share it for me, it really boosts me up the algorithm. I hate to sit here and seem like I'm begging, but it really does help me out a lot. And this is massive for me. Even having 200 some subscribers, I can't believe it. So very, very appreciative. If y'all don't mind doing that for me, it'd be greatly appreciated. Even when I end this, share the live stream. It gets posted. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I will be live on Sunday. Check my socials for the time. I want to say it's probably going to be about 1:30, 2 o'clock range, give or take. I don't know just yet, but yeah, we'll be live. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and you guys know how it goes. If you ain't a Gator, y'all know the rest.